Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another installment of the Blue Abroad Show here on Monday night, brought to you by Assertive Media. Lots to get through tonight. I think tonight's going to be a bit more of a practical show. We're not going to get too angry. We're going to try and contain our emotions. Shad, let's run the intro and get beginning.
What's going on? Internet!
Martin's been very impressive every single time.
I saw the Carlton supporters and I thank you for the love.
Nice playing Glasgow. And there's a magic moment. Ball inside 50. Control! He strikes the beautifully.
What a start! Let's introduce our guest for the evening. I've got Joe. Joe, mate, what a start that is, mate. I'm rattled.
Let's get started.
Let's get beginning.
Let's get started.
Very good England language.
That's good. That's good. No, it's good to be here. Good to be here.
It's good to have you back, mate.
That's good.
Like I said, I think tonight's going to be. We've had the emotion, the anger, the frustration, but I think tonight we're going to look for solutions and be a bit more practical. However, before that, you've got a fiery podcast coming out tomorrow morning.
Yeah, we do. No, you talk about being practical tonight. If you want fired up, listen to the. You can listen to the Almost Blues Brothers podcast tomorrow. That's episode 11. Drops at 10 a.m. All major podcast platforms. We've got a few listeners. It's surprised all three of us. Jules and Dan their egos are inflating by the day with the amount of followers that we're getting and comments. But no, it's good. We've been enjoying it. Ep 11 tomorrow. Obviously, very fired up about the round 2 loss. But yeah, it'll be good listening. And if you haven't followed us already, at Almost Blues Brothers on Instagram, and all the information and polls and questions that we put up, all there.
Absolutely. I think.
Are you enjoying it?
I'm enjoying it. I like the fact that you guys have got your 10 episodes under your belt.
Yeah.
Starting a podcast, it's all about consistency, and it's all good to start, but it's just a matter of how consistent you can be when sometimes life happens. And I think you guys have had your test. You were in Queensland.
I was.
And you still managed to get a few episodes done there as well. So I think you guys are here for the long haul.
Yeah. No, hopefully we're all enjoying it. So yeah, we'll stick around.
Yeah. So Joe, before we begin, we want to talk about. We want to get a little serious. Some things that need to be addressed about the fans. I guess we'll call it the fan accountability section. For those of you who aren't aware this morning, I mean, let's just start off with we're all emotional, very angry and frustrated and all of that. And sometimes it can spill over. Unfortunately, for those who aren't aware, somebody decided that it would be a good idea to send a direct message to Patrick Cripps's partner, Monique, not on her personal page, on a page that she has created specifically for those to raise awareness for mental health issues. Yep. She's going through some issues of her own, and she's looking to share that and build a community. And someone has sent a vile message. I'm not going to put it up here, but it was just, I think it was a timely reminder that, you know, we want the club to be accountable. We want the board to be accountable. We want the players to be accountable. We want the coaches to be accountable. I think it's a timely reminder that fans also have to be accountable for what's said. And I think even last Tuesday as well, obviously we had the show Monday, but Tuesday, Sam Petrevski-Seton gets racially vilified. Now, I don't think they were Carlton fans. It doesn't matter that they weren't Carlton fans, but the thing with Monique was that it was a Carlton supporter that said what she said. And I just wanted to raise light to that, just to remind us all that we're accountable.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's good to get, fired up as a fan, and we're all passionate, and, we want to see the team win, and, they're a big part of all our lives. But, there's a difference between being a fan and absolute fanaticism and being a moron, and that you can't cross that line. That's, there's just no place for it. You just don't go there. Anyone that's, ever even thought about doing it, just get the thought out of your head. It's not worth it.
Yeah, I think that the sad reality is kind of going to wait till round 7 for the next comment message, whether it's a racially charged message or one to a partner. I mean, I know Mrs. Casbolt, she's copped a lot of them as well in her time as well. I don't know if saying what we're talking about right now can stop someone from doing it, but I just felt like it was important to just remind us all that, okay, we're desperate to see this club succeed again, and we want to hold them accountable. Yeah, but there is a line.
Yeah, do your part. I mean, you can't stop people from saying what they want to say, but what you can do is you can not feed into it, and you can not feed them to keep doing it, or spur the conversation on. Ignoring is the best thing that you can do, and I think bringing a spotlight onto it's good. But for today, I mean, I thought it was handled pretty well. You know,
Mm.
everyone sort of moved on from it. And then, you know, the person that sent the message, you know, Monique was fantastic. She didn't actually name the person. I think
Yeah.
that's what they want at times as well. So, you know, the more of that, the better. But yeah, like you said, can't stop it. Just don't feed into it.
Absolutely. Hus L has made a $20 donation. Keep up the great work, gents. Hus, thank you very much for your kindness there. Also, I want to thank the members of the channel. I'm going to have your names rolling along the bottom of the screen throughout the show. There's quite a few. Those of you who do support the channel, really appreciate that extra incentive there, and just love bringing you this channel. It's been a great ride. Joe, let's begin. Practical. Let's start with things that make us happy.
Yeah.
And that is our women.
Yes.
The AFLW. Season came to an end the night before. It was Saturday night. North Melbourne win by a point. So there goes our finals chances. And the girls lose by a point. Obviously, it doesn't mean anything because they're not playing finals, our women. However, we have some retirees. This is your first season, mine as well, really covering the AFLW. What have you made of Katie Loynes and Al Downey?
Oh, phenomenal. I think, did we win by a point or lose by a point?
We won by a point.
We won
by a point, but North Melbourne won by a point.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, nah, we're all over the shop.
Yeah.
No, Al Downey.
Firing.
Al Downey, yeah, she we were kind of talking before the show. Like, she sort of flew under the radar. But she's been there for a long time. And I think, you know, she's so important to the team. You can see it. She's very versatile. Goes into the ruck, can get thrown down back. You know, went forward in a couple of games, kicked a few goals. Yeah, she's going to be missed. And, you know, Katie Loynes, heart and soul.
Class act.
Yeah. Oh, and I think the way that they sent the girls off, you know, getting the win, that's always good to see. You know, even though there's no finals on the line, you always play for your team and you always play for your teammates. And yeah, it was really good to see.
Yeah, it's so hard. You spoke about it on the pod last week, I think, where you mentioned how short the season is, and there's just no room for error. You can't have a 2-week patch where it just doesn't go your way. I think Collingwood had something similar happen to them last year. We felt it this year, maybe the pressure of expectation of, you know, being the flag favourites early on and things like that. But got some work to do.
Oh, we do. I mean, you know, if you listen to the first episode of our podcast, I think me and the boys were up and about winning the flag, and we penciled it in. And, you know, yeah, it's always disappointing not making finals, and especially for this group of girls. But, you know, they showed patches. You know, in the games that they were on, they dominated. It was just fade outs, you know. And I've mentioned club culture a lot, and I think the club culture at the Carlton Football Club at the moment, it's, you know, it's seeping all the way through to the women's and through the men's, and these fade outs just cost us. You know, we're going to talk about it with the men's as well, but it cost the women's early. You know, those first 2 games, just, yeah, they kill you in hindsight.
For sure. But I hope it was the gut check they needed, because there's a lot of talent, still a lot of talent on that list.
Phenomenal amount of talent.
Yeah. It's just about getting that cohesion right. On a high level, like, what did you make of the AFL, like just the experience of the season? I found myself just adding another layer of understanding of who the players were and just getting a little bit more connected with them. I even think the club did a pretty good job with the podcast that they do, the Behind the Game Changers. I think that's really good for them to do that. It's the second season of that, I believe. Just to understand, you know, they do a good job of putting the human first before the player.
Yeah, and it you know, listening to the girls speak and having them host, it gives us as fans, it gives just, you know, a bit more insight into them as a person, as you said. You know, they're not just footballers. You hear stories from the football club, you hear stories from outside the football club. It's a great podcast. For anyone who hasn't listened, you know, now that the season's over, it doesn't mean it's irrelevant. I'd highly recommend going back to listen to the Game Changers podcast. But I mean, for the season, yeah, overall, I mean, what can you say?
Yeah.
You know, you wish you're playing finals, but they're just not, unfortunately.
Spot on. So we wish Katie and Al the best for their lives and what they do after this, and appreciate their contributions to the Carlton Football Club. And I'm sure they'll be around at some point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we move on. Let's get into it, mate. Let's move on to Collingwood.
Got to keep the blood pressure down here.
We've got to keep the blood pressure down. Practicality is the name of the game.
Yep.
Let's start with high level. What happened?
I want to say I think we got ahead of ourselves, to be honest. Like you mentioned in your review that I think we all drank the Kool-Aid a bit in the lead up,
Mate,
in the off
I've got
season.
slabs at home, unopened. I stocked up. I bought Carlton stocks, mate.
Hey, don't worry. I think we've all got them in the garage, mate. But like, I don't know. I just think, we thought it was our time. 6 years of a 5-year rebuild. It may still be our time. It's only round 2. So this is what we all get caught up in. We're 0-2, and we feed into this mentality of only 5 sides have made finals from 0-2 in the last however many years. It can't happen. Of course, it can happen. There's 20 games to go. If you win all 20 games, you finish first. So of course you can still make finals. I think, with the game, I think we just drank our own Kool-Aid. Not just us as fans. I think the playing group did, because we came out laying 4 tackles in the first quarter. I think that said it all. Like, the intent just wasn't there to match a really hungry Collingwood midfield. And it started from the midfield for me. I don't blame the defenders for their performance. Lockie Plowman, 8 goals on him personally in the first half. Everyone has an off day. But, the way that Collingwood were transitioning the ball was too easy. And that came from our midfield spread. There was no pressure on the ball carrier. Pendlebury was walking out of contests. Adam was walking out of contests. Just intensity needed to lift, and it didn't for a long time, and it killed us.
Yeah. The start, to be honest, it still completely bemuses me how we started that game.
Yeah.
I think any game of footy, you want to start with intensity and all of that, and the tackle pressure's got to be up. But I just feel like that particular game, the Collingwood, the rivalry, there's just always, from what I remember, there's always a little bit more, and Carlton always find a little bit more. And even when you go back to the Bolton days, when we were really a, underdeveloped side, but we always lifted for the Collingwood game. Just, look, it is what it is. When you take a step back and you have a couple of nights sleep, this one didn't go away for a few nights for me.
Nope.
I think a few of us are like that. It stung for quite a few days.
Yep.
When you look at it, okay, we're 0-2. We were 0-2 last year, going to Geelong for round 3.
Yeah.
And somehow found a way to get ourselves back into final contention and all of that. So obviously, we're taking it back, we're stripping it back, but we can't dwell on it too much.
No.
It just hurts because it's Collingwood and because we care.
Of course. And, that's what we said right off the top of the show. Of course we care. You talk about the start. I think we actually started really positively in the first 5 or 10 minutes. Like, Zach Williams coming out of the middle, hitting up targets inside 50. I think everyone was out of their seat when he was doing that. Like, that was just phenomenal to see. He had 10 clearances for the game as well. So, there are positives there when you look back on it. I watched the replay. I thought I was going to be, in even more of a hole. But on watching the replay, I actually thought we were thereabouts. It was just that last quarter and those patches with those fade outs. Like, it kills us. It kills us. It's killed us for way too long now.
Yeah. Do we need time to give them time to adjust to, and I know that's a very dangerous word with us because we're impatient, because we are expecting success and we demand success because we're the mighty Carlton Football Club, etc., etc. However, do we need to give Sard time to gel in that back line, Williams time to gel in that midfield, or am I just making more excuses?
No. I think for new players, they always have sort of a free pass, I guess, in terms of the amount of time they need to gel with the group. But if you talk about giving them time, like Teague, and I'm not sticking up for him too much because I know we're going to talk about Teague as well and some of his comments and how he's becoming repetitive. But we've got to remember, like, he's been the official coach for 1 season, and it was an affected season under COVID, so he hasn't even had a full season under his belt with these boys as head coach. I just feel like the playing group under Teague as a whole needs time to still adjust to the differences in this game plan versus the 3 years or 4 years prior with Bolton.
Yeah.
Like, it does take a long time. Maybe we underestimate it too much. Maybe because it's 6 years of a 5-year rebuild, we're all getting super, super impatient and just want wins out of the blocks. But, we're not going to win the flag this year. We'll never tip to win the flag this year. If we did, it'd be a miracle. But as much as it pains me to say, like, we're just not there yet. Do we want finals? Yeah, absolutely. And I think we can still get there. I think we've got the list to do it. And it might just click at some point. It might just click at some point this season, but we need to, like you said, I think we just need to give a little bit more time. Yeah. And I think we'll see it get there. I don't think we can throw in the towel just yet.
Okay. I'm going to ask you guys at home, if you could give it 2 to 3 words as to what happened on Thursday night. 2 to 3 words summarizing the emotions and what you're feeling. Write them in the comments. I'll read them out. because there's a lot of individualizing and whatnot. Individualizing players is all good and well when you're doing a player ratings video or when you're looking at it like that. But I think it's more of it's a lot more than an individual player. It's a lot more than Levi Casbolt or Lockie Plowman or Mark Murphy or whoever people want to go.
It's a collective.
Yeah. So for me, what are the words that summarize? I mean, I just think there's this is a few words, not one word, but uncertainty. I just feel like there was an uncertainty into every action we made. There was just a split second longer that we took to make that decision. And is that learning game plan? Is that just what that is? Is that just still getting used to learning game plan? Whereas Collingwood, a lot of their core players, they're so ingrained in what they're doing. And then my mind goes to, well, is that because they're well coached and the instruction is very clear? Whereas our guys, they might be well coached, but the message might not be clear. I just have so many more questions. I want to have answers.
Yeah, I mean, with ball in hand, obviously we're still adjusting to this attacking game plan that we've seen, and it's obviously built on forward half turnovers and keeping the ball in there and all that. But what happens? Where's the game plan when the ball gets out and we don't lock it in our forward 50? Because you see it on the defensive spread. We're just so slow to react. Like everyone, I think Lockie Fogarty's one of the only ones in the midfield other than Walsh as well that can hold their head up to say, yeah, I ran two ways all night. But there was just no defensive accountability as soon as it got out of that forward 50 and as soon as we couldn't lock it in. That's effort. That's not game plan. Anyone can give effort. Anyone can chase. I won't give them excuses there. I'll give them excuses going forward. I won't give them excuses going the other way because, there just isn't. There's just no excuses for defensive pressure. That's what our game's built on. And I think we underestimated Collingwood as well.
Yep.
Everyone, not just us, but a lot of the football experts and the media and, fans of saying that Collingwood were gonna slide. They still got a great side. Last year they made finals. They won in Perth when no one gave them a chance to win that game. The year prior, they were in a prelim. The year prior, they were in a grand final. They're a good side. They're still a good side. I think we underestimated that as well. So, there's plenty of things you can point to.
Did we try and speak a win into existence?
Yeah. No, I feel like we did. I feel like we, as fans, and maybe the playing group, I feel like as fans, and we got ahead of ourselves massively.
It's not like us.
This is different. This is different. Was it not? It was. It was different.
It was different. I mean, I'm sure, we've got a group chat. I'm sure there's many group chats out there that on Thursday morning, a lot of you were saying in your group chats, today's the day.
It was.
This is the one.
Everyone was convinced.
7-goal win.
Yep.
Yep. So let me go back and answer and get through some of these answers to the, to the what happened in summarizing. And I've just seen Rocco's first one. Weak as piss.
That's fair.
Johnny Flynn did not chase. Oliver Toth, we look tired. Dino says, not enough tackles. Shannon, I have no words. Terry, Adam, Allison, resigned, dismayed, disillusioned. Really like that as a summary. Clinton, didn't work hard enough. Musaka, too many excuses. Heath Buck, not good enough. Aaron, Casbolt and Murphy are so capable, yet they don't. Okay, I got sidetracked there. I saw Murphy's name and
you thought it was going to be something positive.
Who else have we got here? What else have we got? Wildy says imposters. Vinny, terrible without the ball. George, intensity and effort. Marcus, bunch of individuals. Musaka says Miggles. Interesting. Garen says we're out-coached. Libbo says Collingwood caused hesitation. Another one here from Gus, bunch of individuals. So I'll ask the next question. Do we work hard enough for long enough?
No. Plain and simple. No.
What about you guys at home? Do we work hard enough for long enough? Because I think they do work hard, but I think they don't work hard enough for long enough.
Fade outs.
So is that mental, physical?
I mean, we've always said that it's mental, right? But we're a young list. I think we've got the 6th youngest list in the comp. Maybe even younger. I think. I don't know. Do we overestimate our ability to compete, considering the bodies that are in the best 22? Like considering that they're, a lot of them are still just kids, really. When you think about it, 21, 22. I don't want to make excuses because I just said everyone can give effort. And Lockie Fogarty, again, perfect example. He's only 22, 23, and he goes in hard. He tackles hard. He chases his man. He stays skin tight. He's always there in a contest. So no, we can't make excuses, and I just don't think we do compete hard enough for long enough. What about you? Are you of the opinion that these fade outs are mental, or do you think we just don't care in those
So
points?
yeah, I think. Well, yeah, my answer is I don't think we work hard enough for long enough. I mean, for me, my observation of the game and the successful pathway into winning a premiership, the game requires you to be physically imposing. It requires you to tackle hard. It requires you to not have broken tackles, and little things like that show up. And as much as I love Murph, I understand where that criticism comes from, because he doesn't tackle physically, doesn't impose himself like that. And not just Murph, it's not just him. I think Sam Doherty also has 1 tackle in 2 games.
Yeah.
So we don't do that. We don't physically impose, and therefore we can get physically imposed from other teams.
Yep.
And once that starts happening, we've lost something mentally there. All of a sudden, we're straight away on the little brother, getting beat up by the big brother type thing. And so teams know, coming up against Carlton, if we're more physical than them, they might go into their shell. The weird thing is, from what we're told, from what I'm hearing from Teague, it's the game plan is forward half, pressure, score off turnover. We have so many talented players, and like for me, what's the best way to get your players in open space? Score off turnover, create turnover. It's just like we're not willing to work that little bit hard enough. It's just like they're not able to find something else. I thought they actually, in a funny way, I thought they found it in the second half. And that's what got me angry.
Yeah.
Because that's how you should have started the game.
Absolutely.
So we're talking about the same thing again.
We kept them to 34 points in the second half, and it was 71 at halftime. Like, too late. Against Richmond round 1, we came out of the blocks and we gave ourselves a chance. Like, literally, we're in the game right up until the last 5 minutes, where they probably ran over the top of us in round 1. I don't care if we lose that way. Of course, I'm going to be disappointed, but I'm not going to be pissed off at the club and pissed off at the effort. Like, they came out of the blocks flying. If we did that against Collingwood, we 100% would have won that game. We just didn't. We didn't show up until probably, I don't know, 5 minutes into the third quarter.
Yeah, my take on the energy in the crowd and just the night was, the crowd was waiting to get them over the line, but we need them to start something. We need them to start it on the ground, and then we can insert ourselves as fans. We started really getting on top in the third quarter, obviously, and the noise was ridiculous, and then I started hearing that Collingwood chant. It's like the Adelaide camp. It's like the stories you hear about the Adelaide camp. I'm scarred.
Mental scars. I hate that chant.
I start hearing, you know what? Good on them.
Hey, they won.
Good on them.
We can't
honestly.
can't take anything away from them.
Yeah. So a few more themes I want to touch on. Leadership. When I say the word leadership to you, and you guys at home, please give me some summary here. When I say the word leadership, what comes to your mind? Where are we at with leadership?
Yeah. If you follow the Almost Blues Brothers socials, you would have seen a post about this with a photo of Lockie Plowman laughing. Now, I said I'm not going to knock Lockie's performance, because everyone has a bad day on field.
He was just as good last week as what he was bad Thursday.
But you know what? DeGoey had an insane night. Elliott had, they just came out of the blocks flying. I don't think anyone could have stopped DeGoey on Thursday. He was genuinely, he had that like dusty presence about him. He just, every time he went near it. So I don't blame Plowman for his performance on field, but you're in the leadership group. Like, you've just had a very embarrassing loss considering the build-up. I don't want to see you laughing after the game. I don't want to see you laughing in the goal square after you've just had the 8th kicked on you in the first half.
Yeah.
Like, that's when I think of leadership. I think of someone that goes, like, that shouldn't have happened, and digs deep and make sure that they, even if you can't get there, like, just get to the contest and knock the guy.
Yeah.
Like, make sure that DeGoey has to earn his next one, because it didn't happen. Like, and it just felt like, not that it was a joke to him, but when you see that after the game, as a fan that's so invested in the game or so invested in the build-up, it makes you angry. It does. And we'll talk about it in the podcast tomorrow for anyone that listens. But we don't have enough leaders on the field. I think Daniel, again, in the episode tomorrow, he actually says that our young kids have stepped up and they're leading. The youngsters are leading. Everyone stepped up. Walsh has stepped up. Fogarty stepped up. Gibbo stepped up. That younger crop, Fisher, Mackay, kicked 4 on the best defender in the comp when the ball entry inside 50 was deplorable at times. They all stepped up as leaders on the night. But your Cripps, your Doherty, your Plowman, your Jones, your Casbolt, your Murphy, your Curnow. Where were they?
Yeah.
And that's the most frustrating part.
So I've been reminded of it came to my mind when I was doing the review, just the cycle of losing and the stain. Because what we are now saying about Walsh and Wiedering and Fogarty, we were saying about Cripps and Doherty only 3 or 4 years ago. What we were saying about Cripps and Doherty 3-4 years ago, the young guys, they got the energy, they want to lead this club forward. We were talking about that same energy with Mark Murphy and Bryce Gibbs and Matthew Cruiser. It's
Paddy
kind
Cripps.
of, and you know, so on the field, I mean, you just have an expectation. Your leaders are the ones you're going to rely on. Can I rely on anyone in that leadership group right now when the going gets really tough? Like, it's just a really hard question to answer, and I'm probably shirking it. But honestly, like, there's, it's tough. It's tough to say, but there's growth that's got to come there. But the thing is, where are they going to learn it from? Who's their voice? Who is their voice that they're learning off? Is it Brent Stanton? Is it John Barker? Is it Luke Power? I think he's head of development at the club. So it just feels like not a lost cause. I'm not giving up. No one's giving up here. But there's just okay. I'm trying to think of where can we get them help right now, here, right now, with what we've got available. What is it going to be? Is it Juddy? Does Juddy have to come in? Like, I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if this generation of players is motivated by history, because like we're obviously a club with a really rich history. So putting on that jumper should be enough for me.
Yeah.
Knowing the history of our club and knowing how rich it is, pulling on the jumper every week should be enough to get you fired up and get you ready to show that effort and come out from the blocks. I don't feel like past players and stories motivate them. It's got to come. It has to come from within. It just has to come from within. They got to find something. They've just got to block out this noise about starting slow and about fade outs and whatnot, and just start out the blocks.
Yeah.
Like next week against Freo, their midfield's going to be ready. They've got a young midfield, and I know we're going to preview it. They've got a young midfield. They're going to come out of the blocks. But if we don't match that, what happened against Collingwood on Thursday, we're going to see something even worse against Freo, I promise you, because they will punish us out of the middle. They did it to GWS on the weekend. Yeah.
Let me get through some comments. Pommy is in the crowd. My question is, when our senior players step up, everyone watches. When Cochin, Fife, Bontempelli step up, the team lifts around them. More tackles, they get excited. It feels like it's stand back and watch someone else do the work.
Spot on. It is. It's spot on. We've got passengers. Like there were, I think I said to you during the week, I think there was probably 4 or 5 players that I could say, yep, put your hand up, hold your head up high. There were 20 other passengers on the night.
Yeah. Ian, Plowman, as bad as he was, he's not the problem. Jones's form has fallen off a cliff, and Levi looks like a man who needs an electric jolt to move.
Yep.
Just on Plowman, I get it. We're all angry, and Plowman is the whipping boy, and he's allowed 7 or 8 goals in a half, whatever it was. Did we not make a move in the coach's box early enough?
Yeah. Yep.
Because there's the way that he was getting outmarked on the lead in space. My first train of thought goes, well, that's Doherty. Doherty is the general in the back line. He might not be the athletic guy that he was before the knees. He actually looks pretty good physically to me, but he might not be. But that your voice on the field and your mind of the game that you've been now studying closely for 2 years on the sidelines, that's there. So my first train of thought goes to Doc. But then obviously it goes to Teague. Like that second quarter, like it was Brett Ratton days before we sacked him. It was all right, it's happening again.
Yep.
The change comes too late. Let's move to coaching.
Yeah.
It's hard. No, it's a
good segue. It's a good segue.
I don't see the coach's body language. I see the player's body language. And that's kind of generally why I don't really talk about the coaching. But what's going on?
Yeah.
Tactically, what's going on?
Yeah. Again, I've plugged the podcast a bit, but we speak about this tomorrow as well.
You got a podcast,
Jules,
mate.
No, well, Jules mentions this, and he speaks about, Buckley was animated in the coach's box. Teague is never animated. He's never on the phones. Like when they cut to him on TV, when you see him, see the cameras cut to him.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Teague on the phones shouting down the phone at a player like, do your role? Have you ever seen him shouting down the phones at the coaches?
Do you put importance on that? Is that something you want to see?
It's not. It doesn't. You don't have to be shouting. You don't have to be telling players off. But it's a perception, right? Like we're talking about not making changes.
Sorry,
Go.
My sister said Teague and his trail mix.
Yes. Right. Steffi, yes.
She's nailed that.
Yeah, no, very
She's
good.
nailed that.
Very good.
The fucking trail mix.
You talk about not making changes.
Yep.
It took until halfway through the third quarter for Teague to put Ed Curnow in a tagging role on Taylor Adams, who at that point had 10 clearances in the game. After that, he had 3. Why does it take until halfway through the third quarter to make that change when we're obviously getting absolutely spanked in the middle?
Yeah.
Spanked. Setterfield is playing. He gets 9 disposals. I don't blame him. He's playing in absolutely no man's land. It's not what he made his name on last year. He made his name on tackling pressure. In a game where we're faltering in that area and where we need someone to come in and put his body on the line, he's still standing out on a wing, trying to run up and down in open space. That's not the player he is. So I agree that Teague's probably not animated enough. He doesn't make the changes that we see, and he just sort of, I don't know, it's like he rests on his laurels. And
is he maybe backing the players in and he putting it's
yeah,
hard.
but how long can you do that for?
Correct. The coach has got to have,
Coach has got full control over what happens on game day. The players execute. Like if the coach is just letting those players execute to the same degree without making changes, then what's going to change? What's going to change?
There's a few roles on Thursday night that have come under scrutiny. I'll start with the first one. Will Setterfield was the first one. Moved onto the wing. He looked pretty solid in terms of covering the ground in the preseason in this role. Even against Richmond, he covered the ground pretty well. He didn't look lively on Thursday night. It just wasn't a good game. It is what it is. Is it a knee-jerk reaction to say no more Will Setterfield on the wing?
Like I said, where did he make his name last year?
Yeah,
he was touted as one of the most improved in the comp, and he averaged almost 6 tackles a game. Does he need to be on a wing? Like I said, especially in a game where that pressure and intensity just wasn't there. He's a player that you throw into the mix early in the game, and he'll lift the pressure. He'll lift the standards in the middle, and everyone will follow him. If Cripps can't do it because his body's banged up or whatnot, and we're going to talk about that as well. I know, but you got Setterfield there. He's there. Throw him in. He's a big body. He'll tackle. He'll lift the standards. He'll take an Adams out of the game just by bodying him, and it'll allow Zach Williams to get out cleaner, or it'll allow Walsh to get out cleaner. Like
that's something he did very well last year.
Yeah,
he was a tackling machine.
Yes,
5 or 6 tackles a game.
Yeah, and look, I think in the role that he's playing, he's actually intercept marking really well. I don't know if you've noticed. I'm sure there's been a few people that noticed, but his intercept marking is actually really good. But do we need him there? Yeah. How many halfback flankers do we have? How many wingers do we have? You don't need an inside mid running up and down the wing. You need him inside. Yeah. Same as Curnow. So I don't know. Those changes for me, they just have to come earlier. Coaching department needs to see for what it is this week. Will Setterfield needs to start in the middle against Sarong and Brayshaw and these young hungry kids.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Hugo Jenkins, thank you very much for the $1 donation. Ed Curnow was the other one. I was a guest on the Ian Prendercast this week, and Sean was talking about with Ed Curnow. It's Ed, you're either our inside man tagging, or you're not in the side. Is that where do you sit with that? And you guys at home, are we trying to just hold on to guys by putting him in other positions? Murphy, Ed Curnow, is that what's happening?
Yeah. Does he need to be there? He's not a winger. Don't turn him into a winger. Don't turn him into a halfback flanker. Like, he's not going to tag, because when he tags, he gets his own ball too. He doesn't just take the player out. He gets 25 touches of his own, and he gets clearances and contested possessions, and he does everything that we needed on Thursday. If he's not going to play there, don't play him. Bring in someone that's going to play a wing role better. Bring in someone that's going to play a halfback flanker role better, or just. It's frustrating. I don't know why when we obviously last year had a winning formula almost in terms of how we structure up and who plays what role. I don't understand why when we were that close in games, we're now tinkering and playing players out of position and looking for different. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. And it's very similar to what Bolton used to do. Yeah. Very similar. And it scares me. It scares me that we're trying to turn players into something that they're not.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because the Bolton conversation is an interesting one right now, because he came in, he put kids in their position. He put Dow in the midfield. He put all these kids in their natural positions, Fisher on the wing, etc. And then he tried to move Murphy out of the middle, Ed out of the middle, put him on, the half, or Murphy on the wing, and then Ed on the half forward flank. Then we just lost too many games. And then it became, hey, we've got to win games. We've won 3 of 44. Teague comes in, puts Murphy back on ball, puts Ed back on ball. And now we're at a position where, they're going to go. So we've got to get them back out of there.
Yep.
So then comes the other discussion, which has always been there, and that's, where's the development of these kids who we got when Bolton came into at the club? Where's Paddy Dow's development as a midfielder? Where's Lockie O'Brien's development as a midfielder? Where's Liam Stocker's development as a midfielder? They might be too young. Maybe they are too young. Okay, maybe. Where's Kennedy's development as a midfielder?
Yeah.
He's a little older. Setterfield, he's a little older. He's still young, but a little older than the other two. Just again, more question marks. Just question marks keep popping up. And you know, as fans, we've just got to wait and seemingly hope for it to just turn, because we can't really pick out where the good is going to come from right now.
No,
hand on heart, I can't tell you right now where the momentum's going to come from.
Yep,
I just can't.
I think our forward line is looking really good. If you want to talk about positives, I thought our forward line was rolling on Thursday. They did their job. They actually did their job.
Yeah.
Gibbo kicked 3, Martin kicked 3, Mackay kicked 4, Fogarty chipped in, Fisher not chipped in. They all chipped in. So the forward line was working seamlessly. It's that midfield that you're talking about. Where's the development? You look at sides like Richmond, like even Hawthorn to an extent before this year. Your big bodies, your older bodies, your more experienced players, they start in the centre each week. They play in the centre each week. And there's one from the reserves that might come in every now and then and play underneath them and learn from them. You don't chuck in Paddy Dow and, and another kid like we did under Bolton when it was Dow, Samo, and Cripps. Yeah, right, it worked every now and then, but no, it's not what you do. If you've got Ed Curnow that can win his own ball, if you've got Cripps that can win his own ball when his body's right, put those two in there with one other kid. Don't play Curnow, Dow, Setterfield. Play Cripps, Setterfield, Curnow. Play Cripps, Setterfield, Williams. Play Cripps, Dow, Williams. Play two experienced players with one, and that's how your youth is going to develop. I don't want to see players playing out of position for the majority of the game because we want to give midfield time to the likes of Paddy Dow because we believe in his development. We believe in it. He's not there at the moment to take hold of that midfield and be that player. We've got players that can do that. He'll learn from those players if he plays alongside them. We're not seeing that. We weren't seeing it under Bolton, and that's why it scares me.
Okay.
That's why it scares me.
Fascinating. Let's move to the votes.
Yeah.
So if you can give me a 3, a 2, and a 1, and you guys at home, I feel like there's probably only 4 or 5 players that are eligible.
Yeah.
But give us your 3 votes, your 2 votes, and your 1 vote, and I'll read as many of them out as I can. What do you think?
Yeah, my 1 went to Gibbo. They're all forwards in my votes.
Yep.
I think Walsh was stiff to missing my votes because he's probably the only midfielder that tried all night, and Zach Williams with those 10 clearances could have made it in for 1. But Gibbo for 1, 3 goals. I had Fogarty for 2. Could have easily been man of the match for me. Tackling pressure was phenomenal. Chipped in with a goal. Chipped in with score involvements, contested possessions, everything that you'd expect. And I actually gave 3 to Harry Mackay.
We have the same votes.
Yeah,
we haven't even confirmed them.
No, we haven't. We didn't even talk.
Genuinely, I gave Harry the 3 just because I challenged him.
Yep,
Harry, I want you to learn from last week. Be mature. So yeah, I felt the same. I was really happy with Michael Gibbons too.
Oh, how good's that goal? I know it was out, but I don't care. And Taylor Adams didn't get a goal of the year nomination.
Yeah,
that's even better.
Well. The story of Carlton, where we're using those wins as
that's right. We need something this week. It's good.
We do. We do.
No, just on Harry, now everyone's spoken about Darcy Moore this week.
Yes,
we made him look good.
Absolutely, we made him look good. We actually said going into the game, happened last year as well. Can we just lower the eyes and not kick it on Darcy Moore's head?
Yep. Early in the game, Zach Williams lowered his eyes. We're on top. He wasn't there. We'll start bombing it in long. And, of course, he's going to get 18 intercept possessions. It's his game. That's what it's based on. How hard is it? How hard is it to work out? Okay, he had a great game stats-wise, but he was given it on a platter. Yeah. It was on a platter for him to just towel us up.
It's true.
Yeah.
Josh Loft says 1 to Gibbo, 2 to Mackay, and 3 to Fogg. Ari Stamatakos, 1 to Mackay, 2 to Fogarty, 3 to Walsh. Also want to give Ari a shout-out. Ari, Helena, and Nathan Seepy, who have been writing the articles for the AFLW and also the AFL. These are 3 young, up-and-coming sports journalists in this space, and I'm just so proud of them and how hard they work and how hard they push. So thanks very much to you guys. Speaking of Helena, here she is. 3 to Gibbo. She gave 2 to Fogg and 1 to Walsh. Vincent Briganti, 1 to Fogg, 2 to Gibbo, 3 to Harry Mackay. Pommy has got a comment in here, which I've just missed. Sorry, Pom, I've missed you. No, it's here. Question. Teague at the start of the year said this game plan required pressure around the ground. Forward pressure was the key focus on preseason. So far, we're on So far, we're about even for full quarters versus 3 quarters. Okay. I've lost you there, Pom. Steph says Gibbons, and Gibbons. Helena says she forgot about Harry. Black Carrot, 3 to Walsh, 2 to Harry, 1 to Fogg. Luca, 3 to Foggs, 2 to Walsh, 1 to Mackay. We have Ian Mond with a $4.49 donation. Don't need a shout out, but happy to support. Ian, have a shout out anyway, mate. Thank you. Jeffrey O'Day says Fish is an exciting player, but needs to tackle more, particularly front on. Also, I think his constant dancing around so he can get onto his left puts doubt in the forward's mind about when and where to lead. Black Carrot says you've got to give Martin an honourable mention. Jack Martin had a patch of something.
Looked good.
Jesus.
Looked like round 1 last year
Yeah.
all over again when he kicked those 4. Yeah, he was just
If we can
lively.
absorb that and like bottle that up and just spread it out across the 4 quarters.
Lively.
It's very Samo-like.
Very. Yeah.
It's very
patches.
Samo-like.
Patches.
It's patches. So those are the votes. I think it's time to move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
I think it's time to move on because
We did well. My blood pressure's, my heart rate's calm. Like a Tour de France rider, just absolutely calm at the moment somehow.
Yeah. So we're going to move on. We have to move on. As I said earlier in the show, 2020, we're 0-2. We play Richmond. We play Melbourne. We're going to Geelong round 3. It's doomsday.
Yep.
So we're in 12 months later. It's Freo. It's at Marvel. I'm not disrespecting Freo. They've just lost 5. That doesn't mean anything, but it's a help. They're a young, hungry, well-coached, disciplined side. Chera and Brayshaw, Sarong, they lead the midfield. They actually allow Fife to now play forward because they're good enough. Why don't we start with the changes?
Ins and outs?
Yeah, as in like what are we doing with changes? You let me know yours.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are thinking, I mean, there's some reports about a really hard review on the Friday morning or whatever, which of course is going to be a hard review. That's what you would expect. And apparently statements are going to be made. These are all just words that all just align with what's going on. What are you doing with changes?
I hope there are big statements. Yeah. Like, can't have passengers anymore.
What does that mean? 3, 4?
I'm thinking 4, maybe 5. Yeah, because so I originally had 4 before today. So it was if Silvani's fit, he comes in.
Okay.
I think Oscar McDonald comes in.
Mm-hmm.
I think Eddie Betts comes in. Sounds like by all reports he's ready. And, you know, if you want to talk about tackling pressure in the forward 50, I don't care how old he is. He gives you that energy. He gives you a spark. He can produce. So those 3, and I want to see Kennedy come in. The 4 I originally had going out were Casbolt.
Mm-hmm.
It was, oh my God, I've had a blank.
Dowie?
Murphy, Curnow.
Yep.
And Paddy Dow.
Mm-hmm.
The other one that's on the chopping block for me is Williamson.
Mm-hmm.
After that performance, I understand he's a defender, but he had 5 touches.
Yeah.
Not good enough. If there's a 5th that comes out, I want to see Liam Stocker come in.
Yeah.
Play him.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I think, yeah. I mean, I'm with you. I think someone like a Murphy, Curnow, Casbolt, I think 2 of the 3 potentially.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I
feel like they're on the chopping block.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if Jones has another performance like he did
the
last 2 rounds, I think you might see his name on the chopping block.
Yeah, I mean, I even saw Casbolt in defence in the 4th quarter.
Yep.
Which made me think, okay, well, he's made that move. Maybe it could have come earlier. But yeah, I do feel like there needs to be some sort of a statement. And I know people are saying, why didn't Dave Cunningham play? I actually love that he didn't play. I love it because it kind of reminds me of Fisher last year when he was fit after the syndesmosis. He didn't come straight back in, and we were asking about him. I think this is good for Dave Cunningham. I think Dave Cunningham is what Mark Murphy is playing, that Mark Murphy role. That's kind of who he needs to push out.
Yep.
The big shame is that the reserves didn't have a game, which is a little poor by the club. How's that not organised?
Yeah,
there's no form to go off.
No, you'd expect that to.
I don't know what. Again, I don't want to just point the finger at the club and say whatever. But how was there not a game? How was there nothing to base the form on? That was disappointing. But I would say probably Dow and Setterfield have put their names down there to come out. I think one or 2 of the senior guys have got to come out because I think I use the word entitlement, and I use it a lot with this group because they are a highly rated bunch of players. high draft
On
draft
paper,
picks.
On paper,
Yeah,
all talent in the world.
a lot of talent.
Yep.
Do they work as hard as what they like? You look at the Adelaide Crows. Your preview for the pod tomorrow touches right on that. You look at the Adelaide Crows and the way that they attack, and these no-name players make a name for themselves because of the way that they attack the footy and the brand that they play. Yeah, I think. It's just a challenge for them. We as the fans, we want to get around them, but we want to see something to get around. Yeah, those are the changes there. I'll see what you guys.
What did you have? Did you have?
So I've got Dow, Setterfield, Murphy to come out, and Levi, and I'd play Oscar Mack. I wouldn't play Mitch McGovern. I don't think he's ready.
No.
I don't want to make that mistake again.
Yep.
I'd bring in. I want to see Liam Stocker. Whether he's ready or not ready, show me.
Yep.
Let me see it.
Yep.
Because I just want to see it. Throw him in the deep end and show me what he's made of.
Yeah, put him in the middle.
I think Kennedy's got to play personally, and I think there is one more I'm missing. Silvani.
Yep.
I'd love to see Jack come back in
if he's fit.
I think he changes everything.
Yep.
Because of the effort.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not really big on Eddie Betts coming in just yet because I want to see him play games. I think he needs continuity before he comes into the side personally.
Fair enough.
But that's just me. The other one as well is Patrick Cripps. Maybe what I'll do is we'll talk about everyone else's changes, then we'll talk about Cripps because apparently he's injured. So Tim Jacobs wants McDonald, Betts, Stocker, and Kennedy in. I haven't got his outs. What have we got? Helena says, I agree with dropping Willow, but who comes in? Where are we?
Marchbank's close.
Marchbank's close, has to play a few games.
I want to see him in the VFL for 2-3 weeks. Yeah.
I haven't got anyone put their ins and outs, guys. Put your ins and outs so I can read them out.
That's right. Let's talk about Cripps.
Let's talk about Cripps. Rafe in Tunes made a $5 donation. Thank you very much, mate. He says, Fremantle looked like they played our style, but more consistent and harder. Just watch their pressure. We need that heart no matter the player, in my opinion.
Yep.
Fair enough, man. I'm with you. Vincent Brigante says, get Corey Durden in. I would love to see Corey Durden play this week.
He's our man.
He is. So, Patrick Cripps. Sam Edmund has reported, he tweeted today, Paddy Cripps is playing hurt. He is plagued at the moment by an injury that requires weekly injections to get him through, I'm told. If it were December or January, he would be sidelined for 4 to 6 weeks, but he's pushing through. I'm not saying I don't believe it. It's just a coincidence that it's coming out now.
I believe it.
And if it is true, someone has told a lie along the way.
Yep.
There's either a cover up from the club or it just happened in round 2.
Yep.
And from what that tweet says, like Sam Edmund is either lying or the club have covered something up in the preseason that's flared up.
Yep.
And if that's the case, what's going on? Again, all of a sudden we've got another question mark. What's going on, mate? What's happening here?
I mean, did you see the way he was moving?
Yes.
Round 1, he looked good. He did. He was bursting through packs.
He did slow down in the second half.
Yeah. But I think for the majority of it, he was busting through plays. He looked like that player that he was 2-3 years ago, and we thought, like, shit, he's back.
Yep.
Not this Thursday. Like, lumbering around. Looked like he had the body of a 42-year-old at times. That's how slow. And just looked beaten up. I don't know, just looked like the Cripps that we saw last year. Yeah. So I believe it.
If he's at 80% or 70%, should we be playing him?
No.
Yeah. I mean, if he's not able to play the physical bulking style of game that he's known for, should he be playing?
No. Rest him.
Because I don't know if he's like a skilled player like Pendlebury, who, if he's injured, he's always got the time and spatial awareness to make those decisions. I don't think Cripps can do that because his game is based around being the contested beast. Yeah. So there's the next question. Cripps, if he's not right and he's got to take 4 to 6 weeks off, he's got to take 4 to 6 weeks off. Now, that's easy for me to say, but there's a contract coming up and, there's a lot at play here. There's a lot of factors here on the field, off the field, financially, mentally. I don't know where he's at. He's obviously got a contract that he hasn't signed yet. The pressure mounts week to week. Rocco let him know about it.
Scathing on fan cams.
He was.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's going to build.
Yeah.
This morning's situation with Monique, that doesn't help.
No. not at all.
If I'm Cripps and someone's sending that to my partner,
Mm.
I'm saying, fuck you all, I'm out.
Yeah.
So I feel for him. He's going through a challenge in his
He is.
career. He is. It's a challenge for him.
Yeah, he's a young man. He's a leader. He's supposed to be a leader, a captain. His body's breaking down, and off-field issues, and media getting around him around contracts. Like, I couldn't even imagine what he's going through in his head. For me, if he's injured, rest, rehab, get right, take 4 to 6 weeks. Like, we'll be okay. We've played without you before. We've won without you before. Don't worry about the club. Don't worry about putting your body on the line. Just get yourself right, because long term we need you. Long term we need you. We need you for finals. We need you if we do make finals, and I'm still tipping that we can, and
Yep.
we do. If you're not 100% in finals or 95%, like, we're done. We need you in that contested game. We need you when it's tight. We don't need you in round 2 against Collingwood. Simple as that. Like, it's round 2.
Yeah.
Rest your body if that's what you need. Rehab him. Bring in Kennedy. Put Setterfield back into the middle.
Yeah.
They're young. Their bodies are okay.
Yeah.
Haven't been banged up like Cripps has over the last 4 or 5 years. Yeah, rest him. And I don't think that plays into any contract talk. I don't buy into the idea that he's leaving, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't. I think he's said enough that he wants to be here.
Definitely. It's
Yeah.
just more of every week that goes on without the announcement.
Yeah.
Outside noise.
Oh, of course,
from
the outside
fans.
noise.
No,
Yeah.
outside noise and fan noise and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
angst
and all of that.
Yeah. No, look, if he needs 4 to 6 weeks rest, if it was any other player, would they not be resting?
Yeah, it's true.
So when it's the captain of your football club and the best player at your football club when he's right, why would you not want him to rest for 4 to 6 weeks and get his body right? Like, it's a no-brainer for me.
Yeah.
No-brainer.
Fair enough. No, that is fair enough. And I think, like you said, we do have some options in there to see.
Sure.
We have plenty of options in there.
For sure.
So with Freo,
Hmm.
day game, what are you looking at? What's your, it's very early in the week. We haven't seen the injury report. It comes out tomorrow, I believe. So there's a few more days to go under the belt. It's probably a bit more of a review. But what else do we need to think about with Freo this week? Because
Did you watch Freo yesterday?
I did.
Mm.
I got so sucked into GWS, and anyway, we'll leave it at that.
No, I'll tell you what. If you...
They're hard enough for long enough.
They're young, they're hungry, they're going to come out of the blocks flying, like we've been saying. If the club thought there was pressure on them this week after losing to Collingwood, if we go in with a mentality that we're not going to be first to the ball against Freo, they're going to demolish us.
Yeah.
They will tear us apart out of the middle. They will. They got Sean Darcy back as well. So
Yes.
big ruckman. He's going to throw his weight around. Whether Fife misses or not, I don't care because he plays a lot of the time forward anyway.
Does,
so
yeah.
I'm not looking there. I'm looking purely midfield. David Mundy looks like he's Scott Pendlebury at the moment. Sarong, Brayshaw, Chera, 3 of the best young mids in the game. If that midfield group is not on and they're a step off and they think they can go into this game thinking it's going to be easier than what they had in terms of spread, it's not. It's going to be harder. And if they're 5% off come Sunday, we could lose by a considerable margin.
Yeah. Part of me is pretty confident about tonight this week, just because history and watching us so closely over the last few years tells me that we really finally turn it up once the heat's on.
Oh, for sure.
We allow ourselves to go into a hole.
Yep.
And then the pressure comes, the anger comes, and it snaps us into gear. Part of me says, like, I dare them to lose to Freo this week.
Oh.
Do you know, like,
I tell you,
they can't. Come on.
If they do,
Come on
like
now.
I said, if they thought this week was bad, wait till the aftermath of the next week. There's going to be pitchforks for everyone. Absolutely everyone. Yeah.
And that's the question. It's like, what are you motivated by? Like, are you motivated by the fear of failure, or are you motivated by, the carrot dangling in front of you? I feel like our boys are motivated by the fear of failure. And that there's no right way.
Backs against the wall.
Yeah, there's no right way.
Yep.
I think I'm motivated by the fear of failure. That's
100%.
generally how I operate. So they're just, long story short, tackless. To the point. Show up. Don't show 5 tackles in the first quarter. Show me 17, 18, 20 tackles in the first quarter.
Yep.
Let's start there. Because I do feel like we're a much better side on paper.
We are.
And if we create opportunities for ourselves
Yep.
through our defensive pressure, it's going to become infectious. And then the rest of them will buy in.
Freo have got Matt Taberner up forward, who a lot of people have tipped for potentially Coleman, considering their midfield and the delivery that he's getting. So he's one that we have to watch out forward. I think Wiedering can do a job. I don't think Taberner's dynamic enough to worry Wiedering. I think one-on-one he'll have him. The other one's Sonny Walters. Really, they're the only two forwards that I look at and go, yeah, right, they could cause a bit of damage. At the other end of the ground, they've just lost Alex Pearce and they've lost Joel Hamling.
Yeah.
So we've got a forward line that's operating really well from what we saw on Thursday. I think Harry could potentially have a field day if our mids are on. It's the midfield group, again, where it starts and where it ends. Show up from the first bounce and don't stop until the final siren.
Yeah.
Very, very simple. I want the same effort all game. I don't care if you come off. I want to see someone, I haven't seen this since that time. I want to see someone coming off the ground at the end of the game, throwing up like Bryce Gibbs did after that Geelong game. That's what I want to see from our midfield group. I want to see someone that's so hungry for it and will just give absolutely everything for 4 quarters straight that they throw up at the end of the game. Yeah. That's the effort that I want to see.
Fair enough. That's fair enough. And, you know, we can't give up on them yet.
No, I'm not.
We just can't.
Not.
We like I said earlier in the show, the board has their duty. The coaches have their duty. The players have their duty. The fans have got their duty. We've got to almost turn it up, crank it up.
Yeah, lift.
And get louder and louder. And
show up in droves.
Yeah. It's not time to protest. And
no way.
It's not time for that.
No.
It's nowhere near time
20
for that.
games left.
Absolutely.
We can still finish first.
We've got a couple of minutes left. I'm going to open it up to some fan Q&A. Big question here that's coming up. Mark wants to know, has Pom officially retired from Blue Abroad? The answer is no. Pom has not retired. It was an emotional night, and we'll leave it at that.
He'll be back.
He'll be back. Pom will be back. We love Pom. Mose Rabi says Cripps needs to lift for you guys. She sure does. A lot of them do. Ian says, I remember our first half against this mob a couple of years back when we kicked 1 goal. Yeah. Remember being 77 to 7 down?
We didn't even kick a goal.
No, we didn't. You're right. 7
7 behinds.
behinds.
Oh,
my God. Oh, my God.
Don't. Let's talk about the after the siren win and Murphy's banana.
Let's not go there.
I can't
Scotty
reflect on
Boy
that.
from Down Under says, does Levi keep his spot? I think for the most part. I get why they picked him over Oscar for round 2 because you back in your guy.
Yeah.
You know. But he's underdone. He's just not.
Oh, his body looks.
Yeah, and he looks very slow.
He looks cooked.
Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't have the preseason, and when you got that frame, and when what is he, 32, 33 now? Like you need a preseason.
Absolutely.
You do. We did it to Mitch the other, whatever it was, 2 years ago. He had that mini preseason, 4 weeks. I think Levi needs some time.
Yeah. Low key, we really, really need Jack Silvani.
Bad.
Like really need Jack Silvani.
Yeah, man. He is so important.
Yeah.
So important.
I know it's only been a Richmond game and whatnot, but half of the Richmond game, I should say. But we're really missing him because he does things that inspire others around him. You know, his effort gets the next guy to make that extra tackle and that extra effort. So, Andrew Satsias says he thinks Levi gets a rest for Oscar as well. Tim says, Freo have great intercept mark players. Do we go with a small forward line to force the players not to bomb it into Harry? It's a good question. Here's another one that I noticed. We don't lead.
No, our leading patterns are terrible, man.
Shad, put the camera. Oh, you've got it here. So this is what I see a lot of. So this is the player. There's a lot of this holding against your defender and just pointing over there for them to kick it to that spot.
Yep.
Collingwood have Elliott leading.
Yep.
Hoskin Elliott leading.
Yep.
DeGoey leading.
Well, it opens up the space in front of DeGoey, right? Like who opens up the space in front of Harry? You don't see it. You see a pack form in front of Harry and you expect Harry to crash it and try and clunk it.
It's markers up.
It's terrible.
That's what it is. It's markers
terrible.
up.
I noticed, it's funny you bring it up because I noticed it when I was there live watching it. And I saw how Collingwood were leading and I looked at us going the other way like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like we've got this big lead up forward.
Yeah.
And we don't create space for him.
No wonder why they don't lower their eyes.
Oh my God. But we did it. We did it early.
We did do it early.
We did it early.
But it's like we forget.
Yeah.
Or
we just go back to that?
fatigue kicks in and then we lose our heads. We're going back to Collingwood, are we?
Stop. Stop. I'm going to get fired up. I told you I wasn't going to get fired up tonight.
You did. All right. It's 9:00. There's the hour. Joe, it's been a pleasure.
It's been good.
It's great having you in here.
Thank you very much.
Carlton fans at home, stay accountable for what you say online, please. Get there on Sunday. One more chance. Give them one more chance. We've got to get there. We've got to support them. It's been a great show. I think we can move on now. Almost Blues Brothers podcast tomorrow morning. I'll be doing the preview tomorrow. That'll come out tomorrow afternoon. We have the Wednesday live show with Harrison and Jed from the Blues Footy podcast. Jam-packed week.
Every week.
Absolutely. Here on the Blue Abroad YouTube channel. Love it. Have a good one, guys.
Thanks, guys.
And go the Mighty Blues.